Hello and welcome to No Particular Order, Mana Biscuits weekly top 5 list show where we list our top 5 whatevers in no particular order. This week, top 5 8-bit games. All right, as always, we're going to get right into our list this week. Top 5 8-bit games. Usually Nintendo games, but maybe a Master System game will sneak its way on the list. You never know. You gotta stay on your toes, maybe. All right, Jay, why don't
Yes,
you give
sir.
us your 5 Master System games?
Actually, I didn't do five Master System games. Surprisingly enough, despite the fact that I was a Sega fan as a child and my parents bought nothing but a couple of all right.
Look at the camera, for God's sake.
I was running through my list. Anyway, all right. So top five consists of first one, Double Dragon. This one I did play for the Sega 8-bit and loved it. It was one of those things that me and my cousin did for hours upon hours on end, and it was a good game. Next up on the list is my personal favorite. I love this game to this day, and that is Ghouls and Goblins. I could not get enough of playing this. I have it. I have it as a ROM over here. I will break it out on
Ooh,
a regular basis. Well, I have a copy of it, so it is completely legal.
that's
Um,
debatable.
what's that?
That's debatable.
Hey, all right. Well, we can question debatability on that one later. Next up on my list is Super Mario Brothers 2. Not three, not the one that everybody considers iconic, but two. I loved two. Throwing the turnips and just the way that the world played out, and being able to go backwards and forwards, and it was different than anything else. Next up on the list, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Again, a side scroller, the sky side scroller beatdown, loved it. Battletoads is last on my list, and got the bike level. Enough said.
Enough said about it being a pain in my dick. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, Battletoads is a great game. Super Mario 2 is a great game, but you could not possibly be more wrong about Super Mario Brothers 3.
I do. Yes, but I was not a fan of the raccoon suit. Just couldn't.
Yeah, as I
What? It
said,
doesn't.
you could not
Whatever.
possibly be more wrong. All right, let me give you my list. First on my list, Contra, up, up, down, down. You know the rest. I have not seen many people defeat the game without that cheat code, but one of them I happen to know is one of our regular viewers. So props to you, Raven. All right. Next up on my list, River City Ransom. You talk about a game ahead of its time. So many games today that incorporate their little RPG elements into the action game genre to the point where genres can no longer be defined by those elements. River City Ransom was doing that on the NES, baby. And remember, smiles are free. All right, next up, Legend of Lolo. Fantastic puzzle game. The whole room puzzle game hadn't really come into its own as of yet. Legend of Lolo was a big part of that, along with its sequel, Legend of Lolo 2. And as an 8-year-old playing the game, I found the story compelling. The little blue ball needed to find his princess because he had blue balls. Next up on my list, Silver Surfer. Ridiculously, painfully difficult, as were so many games in the 8-bit era. But it was so awesome, just like flying around and being a silver surfer on your surfboard. And it was basically a side scrolling shooter, and it was fun. All right, finally, to round out my list is the iconic game of the 8-bit era, the Candy Crush before was a Candy Crush, the game that brought casuals into the hardcore market, and that is Tetris. I mean, how could you not put Tetris on a top 5 8-bit list? It is the game that made you see the world differently. Anybody who's driven down the street and tried to fit buildings together knows what I'm talking about. All right. What else we got? Oh, yeah, TJ hasn't gone yet. How about you give us your list, TJ?
All right. I mostly based mine off of the amount of time that I spent playing each of these individual games. The first one on my list is Metroid. Obviously, an awesome game. It is an acclaimed game for a reason, and there's something about all the little like nooks and crannies and things you could explore that made me feel like I had never completely like explored that world. That there was always something more to find, even though probably I did. I mean, obviously, I did find everything as it turns out, but it always seemed like there might have been another zone or something hidden off in that weird playground rumor sort of way where people always said that there were those sorts of things. Next on my list was Maniac Mansion. I really liked that style of like the Lucas Arts like point and click adventure games, even when it was translated kind of poorly to the control scheme of the NES. Next up is DuckTales, which was just a fantastic game. I bought the remastered edition for the last generation of consoles, and it's still just as good as it was when I was like 8 years old. Just brilliant, awesome game. The next on my list is Castlevania 2, which is widely regarded as the worst of the NES Castlevanias and among the worst Castlevanias in general. But I really loved it. I like the RPG elements and the world exploration and all that bogged down a lot of people's opinion of it. And then finally is Final Fantasy, which I spent more hours playing that game than I can even fathom. Just playing through it over and over and over again. And obviously, since it is also one of the most highly acclaimed game series of all times and longest running, and so many just accolades and awards and money thrown at it, I'm not the only one who thought it was great.
You're not the only one. No, you're not.
Oh,
In fact, my ingress into nerddom pretty much came from Final Fantasy. I'll never forget my first impression. I went over to my friend's house because they had a Nintendo. I didn't have a Nintendo yet at the time. And they were playing this game where it looked kind of cool. I mean, there were the characters on the screen, like with Mario, which is what I really wanted to play. But they were doing things with menus. I mean, what the hell was that all about? How this is like the most boring thing I've ever seen, guys. Get this shit out and let's play some Mario. And I finally talked him into letting me play some Mario, and I was happy. But a few months later, they talked me into just try it. Just give it a try. And, around about 6 a.m. the next morning, I realized that I, too, was into role-playing games. Fantastic stuff.
That's the distinctly similar story to a lot of people getting pulled into EverQuest
It's true.
World of Warcraft. With
my experience is not unique. Thank you for pointing that out, Jay.
No, it most certainly was not. In fact, you replicated that with me. Hey, you should play this game. No, I'm not interested. Hey, you should play this game. No, I'm not interested. I'll try it. 10 years later,
you're still playing World of Warcraft.
Yo. Yeah. Anyway,
and you're still playing Final Fantasy games. So.
That's true. It's very true. All right. Honorable mentions: Mario 3, Legend of Zelda, Legend of Zelda 2, maybe.
I never cared for Link to the Past. It was
that was not even on the NES. So and how could you not care for Link to the Past, which is by far and away the best Zelda game outside of Ocarina of Time?
Ocarina of Time. I was going to say
outside of, it was always going to be qualified as such, but.
Ocarina of Time, followed by Majora's Mask, followed by Legend of Zelda, followed by Wind Waker.
Jay, it is amazing we still let you on this fucking show. All right. Honorable mentions, all the obvious ones, because, we're all too cool to have the obvious ones on our list. All right. Top 5 of the top 5, and let's get Final Fantasy. Mm-hmm. Jay, did you have anything worth top 5 of the top 5? Did he really?
Yeah.
I guess.
Goblins, man.
Yeah, Ghouls and Goblins. Okay. Yep. I'm gonna go River City Ransom. I'm also gonna put Contra on there. We'll say Metroid to round it out. Okay.
Yep, sounds good to me.
All right. Then that's it. Our work is done, gentlemen. You have our top 5 lists. You have our honorable mentions and the top 5 of the top 5. Join us next week when our top 5 list will be top 5 16-bit games of all time, because we lack creativity. We'll see you next week with more, no particular order. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.